Okay, so hi Jerry. It's going to be only a few of us today. I just restarted recording. This is the Greenway committee meeting for July 28th, and we're starting it at 4:02 p.m. Monica and I are talking about Larry Vieri cannot attend meetings on Wednesday. It's difficult right now because of his classes that he's teaching. And we were thinking about moving it to the last Thursday of the month, same time, but then Monica asked if we could also move it to 3 p.m. And I suspect, are you going to be substitute teaching? Oh,
You're muted.
muted.
Everything's up in the air,
Okay.
because of COVID and masking.
Yes. Okay. Well, what I will do is I will send out a proposal that we meet starting next month. We will meet on the last Thursday of the month and meet at 3. I'm typing a note to myself here.
That's in August.
That's in August.
Or later, like 6:37. It might be too late. Just because like we eat dinner at 5 and I have to make dinner. So like I'm usually cooking now. So Simon's doing it now, but because I have little children and they go to bed at 7. So
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will send out a survey.
Okay.
Survey for the time. We'll see what time works well for people. I'll just do that by doodle poll.
And I don't do very well with all that stuff. I'm going to try to come to I have tons of flexibility. I just work things around. If I know I have a meeting, I can usually make it.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I will do that before our next meeting. The other thing is Larry had asked a question, and this was going to be related to Tony's presentation, but he's not here.
I hope he's not at the village office.
Yeah, me too.
Do you have his phone number? Maybe you can call him.
Let me see if I got an email from him. Excuse me for just a moment.
I was so grateful to get this message because I was just going to run to my car and come across, and this is
Good.
bad.
Yes. No, I would have just like logged onto the computer and been like, where's the Zoom link? Because I forget we have to meet in person now. I'm always looking for the Zoom link.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a problem. If we were going to vote, we would need a quorum. But we won't be voting today on anything, so I figured we could do this by Zoom. We're just exchanging information today. Let me see if I've got Tony's number on my phone. I'll give him a call.
Are those your sculptures in the background, Jerry?
Yes.
Those are awesome.
I
A very nice background.
I can actually I'll show you. I'll walk you around my studio. I'm in
Wow.
South Hill Business Park.
I don't
I'm
have
doing
Tony's phone number.
all kinds of different things. I do lots of mobiles, and these are all toothpick sculptures.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know if you can see, but that's all made out of toothpicks.
That is awesome. I once made a toothpick bridge, but it did not look like that.
Well, it's really just a hobby, but but I'm teaching it now, which is really, really,
That's awesome.
That's really where it's at for me, is sharing this with kids.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Yeah.
Do you teach in the studio or do you teach like somewhere else at school?
Well, I've been doing remote because of COVID. So was great to have this, but Ronnie, I didn't mean to take you away from the meeting, but
That's okay. I don't have Tony's phone number. So we'll just proceed. But Larry had raised some questions about, he had concerns that a fitness park might not be the best use of that land. And so, I mean, he's concerned, he said Northwoods has all of this an exercise trail, but quite frankly, it's not very well maintained. It's just kind of hodgepodge scattered around. So what I was thinking is that we could potentially send out a survey to our village residents and ask them what might be a good use of it, some things we were thinking of, and get some feedback on it before we go forward and just push something through that's not going to be popular.
We're talking about the pocket park in Lansing Heights.
No, this is the park that's across the street from Marion Hartel. It's kind of an L-shaped park. We were thinking about making a fitness trail and a trail that will connect into the East Point Apartments. This is Jody. Hang on, she might be calling for Tony. Hello.
Hi, Ronnie. Liz and Tony are here. They didn't realize we were meeting.
No, I sent them an email earlier that we weren't really going to be voting to.
Got it.
Okay. Yes, so they can join by Zoom from there if they have the ability. But yeah, we're just started the meeting.
So anyway, Monica, my goal is to get a laser engraver in my studio. I'm going to be offering laser engraving services.
Oh, that's cool. Engraving what, metal, wood? What would engrave? Oh, cool.
Glass,
Monica.
Hi. Hi. Hi, guys.
yeah.
Hey,
Your background looks familiar.
oh, sorry, we're in the village office. Sorry.
Sorry, I sent out an email earlier. I'm sorry you both didn't.
I know,
get
and I didn't get it. I was picking up my car and then my house guest arrived and I hadn't looked at email, so we're here.
Tony, aren't you millennial? Like, isn't that phone glued to your face? I don't understand.
Actually, I'm actually Gen Z.
That's why. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I could
Good
put it down.
pass.
Why don't we move around there and then we won't have the window behind us because the light is just kind of, all right. Oh, yeah, why don't we do that? All right, then you won't have to listen to us. Okay, we're gonna go back into Ronnie's office.
That's perfect.
Are there two chairs?
There's
Okay.
at least one. You might have to drag another one in with you.
Okay,
The
Oh,
chairs
two
seem to
chairs.
move in and out.
yeah, we got two chairs. We're gonna sit here and talk to the virtual mayor.
Okay,
Here we
In his
are.
office.
Cool.
okay.
All right, get started. I just forgot a couple things on the table. Go ahead. I'll be right there.
That's okay. Tony, what we were talking about is related to your presentation, and I still want to go forward with your information. But Larry Bieri raised a good point that perhaps the fitness trail wasn't the appropriate use of that park because there was a fitness trail within Northwoods Apartments that's rarely used. Now, my point about that, and I've just said this when Jody called me, is that the equipment in Northwoods is not very well maintained, and the trail is kind of ad hoc. They seem to have kind of plunked things down in spots throughout the various sidewalks within the complex, and I just don't know how well it is maintained. From what I've seen when I've walked through there, it's they mow around it, but it's kind of iffy as far as how it's held together. It's basically wood and a few bars and so forth, some benches and things. So what I was going to propose is that this summer we put together a survey for our village residents and asked them about uses for that park. And, some of the uses would be a fitness trail with certain pieces of equipment and which ones would they be interested in using. And that way we can gather more information from them before we do the final plan and build upon what you've got, because we can use what you're presenting today as a basis for some of the survey selections.
Right.
So that was my only comment about that, is that we could work on that. And we have various ways to getting that through mail servers and then having a link on our website, and just setting a deadline and getting information and then compiling that and presenting it to ourselves first to kind of refine the results, and then presenting that as part of the scoping plan for the park to the Board of Trustees. So
Yeah.
now you're not necessarily, I'm not making you responsible for that survey.
Okay.
So don't take that wrong. I don't know how much time you have left to work with.
I mean, I'd like to work on the survey. I mean, a couple to crank one out.
Okay. How much longer will you be working with this this summer?
I guess it's like 4 or 5 more days.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, could you carry over a little, just a second, Jerry, could you carry over a little bit after you started back to school? Because it would probably be mostly on.
Oh, yeah, I think I wouldn't mind. I don't
Okay.
really
Yeah,
have
yeah.
it until,
Okay, we'll make it a team effort to just kind of compile something through a Google document and then make
Yeah.
the final survey from that. And then, yeah, that would be good. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And thank you for the work you've been doing on the research for the equipment.
yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna be valuable for that survey and eventually for the plans for the park. So with that said, are you able to present anything to us today, or will I need to share things for you?
Yeah, I think if you could share the last document, the
With the
last
photos?
slideshow that I
Yeah.
sent you,
Okay,
that'd be great.
let me pull that up.
Tony, could I just ask, is your goal to create infrastructure or programming? What is your what is the objective from your perspective, from your school, what you're trying to do?
Well, personally, I would just like to promote wellness, include a variety of fitness equipment for people who want to get stronger, that sort of thing, personally. That may not be everyone's, focus or whatever. Maybe, it's for, entertainment or something casual. I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm just getting ready to present. Okay. All right. I was checking to make sure I knew how to present with the Google app. So let me share my I'll share my screen.
just getting it out of the way.
Is Lynn redecorating right now? What is she doing?
We are
I
redecorating.
moved the ladder.
Why is there a ladder in your office?
It didn't, well, it's the place you store it because nobody's using the office.
They're building me an escape hatch.
Are you doing maintenance in your spare time? What's happening over there?
It's out through the ceiling.
Okay.
I think you're on the last slide. I need you to go to the first slide.
This
Right. These are my choices of what I think are the most important fitness stations.
okay.
So this is something that I saw at the gym Scug Trail.
Oh, right.
It's a
Gym
low
Shark.
pull-up
Yeah.
bar. And
Yeah.
you can do, body weight rows. This is excellent for beginners or people who are more advanced who want to do body weight rows.
Right.
Next slide.
Okay. Okay. That'll do it. Okay.
And this is a regular pull-up bar. It's not actually a pull-up bar. What you're supposed to do, as it showed on the directions there, is that you're supposed to, just hang on to it and go from one side to the other.
Oh.
And
Kind of
I think
swing back and forth.
yeah.
Okay.
I think you can see that the bar is kind of bent out of shape in one area,
Yeah, I do see that.
but you can also do regular pull-ups there.
Mhm.
However, I don't think everyone can reach that bar. It's pretty
Okay, I
high.
definitely will not be able to reach that bar.
Yeah.
I would need a stool or something.
Yeah, and that I thought that was disappointing because I saw this at Cass Park and they did have another section, kind of far off where there were pull-up bars and other equipment. Yeah, so there's that. Next slide. A dip bar. I didn't see any dip bars at the gym Scug Trail. I was a
So
little
you're lowering
disappointed.
yourself down and then pulling yourself back up. How does it work?
Exactly,
Yeah.
just like that.
So it's upper arm strength.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that would be nice to have one of those in
Yeah.
a fitness trail. The
Okay.
next slide. This is a sit-up station. I think one of those is important.
What are
Okay.
the two upright posts for?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not entirely sure. Well, what I see is I could do sit-ups if you could put your feet there,
Uh-huh.
or I could do sit-ups, if I
On
sit
there,
there and I
right.
put your legs right there.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Huh.
it's
A
interesting.
push-up station either, because I see those two posts, like you could put your hands and do offset push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could do that. You get creative.
Yeah.
You could absolutely get creative
They
there.
just seem to be in an odd place.
Yeah, the
Which I
vertical,
hate, by the way. Offset push-ups are not fun.
unless they're like for a balancing test where you try to move from one to the other and then back or something, but that looks dangerous.
Right. And
I would
both-
need a first aid station next to this.
yeah, well we could definitely include one of those. Yeah,
A box of Band-Aids, eh?
right.
A boo-boo station.
I wanted to say that all of these wooden type of apparatuses were provided by the Fit Trail equipment provider. I like them because they're just very aesthetic. They're wooden, they're natural.
Mhm.
Also, they have signing. They have that signage that Mayor Hardaway was talking about that comes with their equipment.
Right.
Was it very splintery? Because we do have quite an extreme environment. Like, were they, like if I'm doing sit-ups on that wooden board, am I gonna get a splinter in my butt?
I don't think so. I actually didn't do any sit-ups at that very moment. I'll have to let you know.
That's my only concern, because I like the wood and I like the aesthetic, but maybe, I mean, it obviously would cost more, but you can get that same kind of aesthetic, but in like a polymer, right? Like, like you think of the Trex boards and things like that, so they won't splinter and they won't need maintenance.
Very true. I did look into other equipment providers, and I could do some more research on that. But that's a good point. Very good point.
We also had a wooden playground set in Global Village Park for a good 20 years, and what started to happen with it is the below ground parts of the posts rotted away and they became dangerous.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we have to look at too. But
And then, so the only other thing that I see too, and this is, I'm just thinking of John, since we were talking about how hard John works, some kind of surface underneath this equipment, not grass, because if he has to weed whack around all these posts, that makes it more work for John. And I'm thinking of Simon too, because Simon does all this stuff. So like maybe mulch, like there's gotta be like maybe a rubber, like something, like, I don't know, mulch would do it, but there's gotta be kind of surface thing maybe we can look into.
Even if you put down pea gravel or something like that, you're gonna have to dig down a ways, because otherwise you just get grass coming right up through it after.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to do sit-ups on pea gravel either. So it'd have to be something like saw. I'm just thinking of that rubber mat stuff that they do to playgrounds, but that is really expensive.
yes,
That's like probably the most expensive surfacing. It's great, but maybe we can find something that's a little cheaper that would achieve
Sure.
the same.
I-
That's
That's
stuff
good.
made from recycled tires.
Yes, they have it on the playground in the Commons, that one that Tompkins Trust, the one with
Yeah.
Tompkins Trust sign, and it's very colorful but it's like so expensive. So that's,
It's very
I've
bouncy.
walked on it,
yeah, it's really fun. It's a great surface. But yeah, I don't want John to have to do anything.
well, we have to take that into consideration too. But right now, it's just the ideas of what type of equipment can we put in, and then we can worry about the materials of the equipment and the landscaping, so to speak, around the equipment too.
Okay.
Right. These are a couple of stretching stations that I saw. I know that there are more that could
How does
potentially
that
be.
work? You
So this
step on
this one's like for hamstrings, like you put your heel
Uh-huh.
on it and then you kind of stretch.
Yeah,
This one's
okay.
like for your calves, like where you
Okay.
just like hold on to it.
And stretch back.
Stretch. I'm
Yeah,
sure
stretch
there's
your leg.
other things you could do too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Next slide. Oh, this was a lot of fun.
That looks like fun.
Yeah.
My son would love this. He'd be all over this one.
Oh yeah, I spent maybe a good 15 minutes just perfecting my my technique
Where is
on the
that?
balance station. This is at Cass Park.
Oh, that one's on Cass, huh?
Yeah,
Oh,
now I labeled this bonus stations, because, these are just fun and maybe, it's another extra thing that you could provide. But I feel like the last few that I showed you should be something that's included.
So they'd be the core elements, and this would be a goodie.
Exactly.
If you do a good job, then you get to play on this one.
Absolutely.
That's the reward.
Next slide. Oh, this was interesting. I thought this was good for athletes who are trying to build explosiveness. Maybe not necessarily something that should be required. And excuse my finger, I'm not the best photographer.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty easy with a phone.
Next slide. Push-up station. I don't necessarily think it's necessary, because you can put your hands on the ground. It's fine. You can put your hands up on a bench. You can put your feet up on the bench. There are many different ways you can do push-ups. I don't necessarily think this is necessary, but there are a lot of people who do like those bars to do push-ups on.
Actually, I think any trail system is going to have people walking their pets, and not everybody picks up after their dogs.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to think about that.
I know, but you have to, because
right.
not everybody does the right thing. So I think having the bars makes a little
Right.
sense, even though it's not. There's the one that's closest to the ground.
Or we could do something like double duty, because I'm just thinking I'm thinking of the older population too, that aren't going to be like jumping or doing things.
Right.
Like maybe like a step up platform where you can just do step up and down. And then that could double as a push up station too, because it's just elevated, yay high, and it's someplace clean to put your hands so you can do push ups. So that would be.
Or you push up or push away.
Yeah, or just use it as a stepper, and just work on it. Oh, sorry.
Ooh.
No, sorry, it's really loud.
Is that a phone?
That was my phone, sorry. It's not on mute. I didn't get the reminder.
Yeah.
But yeah, so something like that could do double duty of like a push-up station and a stepper, for people that aren't that mobile, that just want to practice their balance.
That brings up a really good question, because a lot of these are for people who are probably fairly fit and not differently abled, shall we say. I wonder if we can mix in a few elements that are for people who, like older citizens, seniors who need a little bit of a challenge but aren't up to push-ups.
I feel like the lower bar, you can use that for push-ups, or you could use that for body weight rows, which are easier. I feel like that was my that's what I looked at when I thought about that low bar.
Okay.
But you're definitely right.
I'm new to these things. I've never actually tried any of the fitness stations. I always just kept walking.
Oh, you might go to.
I need to go to the Jim Shrub Trail and give it a try, or the one at Cass Park.
Yeah.
I'm usually bicycling past them, so I don't stop.
Oh, that's good exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the last one, isn't it? That's the last one, isn't it? Okay. Okay, good. Let me escape out of here. Stop share. All right. Okay, let me see. I'm just getting my desktop back to normal for a second. Okay, yeah, thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. And what we might look at is for the survey is that we can not just only have a description of this piece of equipment, but a picture of it and say, these things are available. Which one do you think you would use? And we will try to get a spectrum of age-appropriate equipment in there too, which I think is a good idea. We have the playground for younger kids, sports field for younger kids or young adults, and then the fitness trail for people who are very active or for seniors who just want to stay mobile and flexible. So we should kind of make it an all-encompassing park space. If this is what we go for, I mean, people might say, well, I'll never use it, and etc. So before we spend money on it, we probably should at least do a survey and get some more ideas. But I think a fitness park is a good fit for that space because it's primarily going to be a walking trail And there's not a lot of room for other pieces of equipment. And it's across the street, we have the normal pieces of equipment for a park playground. So this would be a good way of filling this one in, but we'll go forward with the survey and see what we find out.
Ronnie, how are you going to do the survey? I didn't
Well,
actually get on that discussion.
Tony's going to help me. We're going to put together a survey and send it out. There'll be a link on the website. We'll send it out to our various listservs. And
Okay.
just ask people, you know, these are some options for this park. And I think we'll have an image of what the park looks like and kind of a rough idea of what's going to be done there as far as the size and the trail running through it. And then what are the pieces of equipment that you would like to see, fitness related or activity related or something, and get some ideas. But yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
What is the area of this pocket park? What is the approximate? Is it under an acre?
Let me show you, Jerry. I've got a map here on Google. I'll share my. Let me get to it, then I'll share my screen again.
Thank you.
All right. Share screen. Sure. Can you see that?
Mhm.
Okay, so there's Marion Hartill Park with its trails. The area we're talking about, Jerry, is this area across the street. And we were going to have a trail running through it that will kind of come up and join the East Point Apartments somewhere around in here. So the trail would kind of curve around. So. There is there was a pool here that has been filled in, and we were just going to leave that filled in and use that surface for some of the equipment, and then we'll leave a lot of it natural back in here, but we might put a few trees around it and then some equipment. So primarily through here, maybe one or two up through here. Does that help you?
Yes, very much.
The width of that.
I'm sorry?
What's the width from green line to green line?
Boy, I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's
Trying to-
bigger than I thought.
Hang on a second.
It looks pretty big, so I'm just.
This is the land that the Edelmans gave to the
Oh, wow.
village, couldn't sell it.
Yeah.
That's 224.
Wow. It's big. There's a lot of space there.
And let me see about the other one. This is 270 roughly.
Could I see the satellite view too? Sorry, I'm being really demanding.
Let me see if I can do that quickly.
Just want to see what the tree situation's like.
Yeah,
So is that what is that square? That's the what?
That's the old pool.
it's an old swimming pool
Okay.
that is kind of partially above ground now, and it's been filled in. You can see a part of a wall here primarily, saying over this end is pretty much covered up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's maybe like 18 inches of wall down here on these two edges.
So is it concrete? Is it a flat surface?
I think it's concrete, and oh no, it's not concrete. It's just dirt. It's dirt up here.
So it's basically like a raised dirt platform.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think that pool, it may have had something to do with Northwoods. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
It might even have predated Northwoods, and I don't remember how it got there, but it got filled in as an attractive nuisance.
Because I'm just thinking like that's a really fabulous spot to do communal exercises. Like you could just surface that area and have Tai Chi, yoga, people just getting together and just, having, sending out a blast to Northwoods. Hey, I'm going to do Tai Chi class. Come over at, 7 a.m. on Tuesday, and people show up and, do that. Because I feel like there's not, because all of these are individual, and then that's what people mostly do. But I think there's a lot of value in, especially for the older population, in
Okay.
communal exercising.
Okay.
So that might be a good spot since it's flat and dirt, and even just grass it, or like just make it just a softer surface. I would totally take my mom friends, and as our kids are playing in the park, do yoga over there, because you can see the park from there. So
Yeah, you can. And then we could always put some more equipment up around in here, around the trail, and maybe have 1 or 2 stations on the trail. We've got a stream that runs through here.
Yeah, there's a drainage.
It's an intermittent stream, so we'll have a little bridge that crosses over somewhere, very similar to Marion Hartshill. So that's what it looks like.
It's a kind of woody. It looks like it has woods.
Not as much as the Marion Hartshill did, but it's kind of of similar quality.
It's probably scrubby second growth,
Yeah, it's
a lot of ash, maybe some maple, red maples, stuff like that.
it's been used
Yeah.
some illicit parties during back in the overgrowth or undergrowth, whatever. I found when I walked through it, but we'll get all of that cleaned up. We'll leave a lot of that natural if we can, or at least improve it with some extra landscaping.
Yeah, I think that's important because we've radically changed what was at Marion Harthill. We removed an awful lot of what was there. Not that it was all that valuable, but there's just not much in the way of overstory anymore. And I think the more we can clean out understory, especially if it's weedy stuff, multiflora rose and Tatarian honeysuckle and that kind of stuff.
so much of that in the woods behind my house.
Oh God,
Stick
yeah.
with it.
And it's a pest. It's a real pest and no fun to be around. But leave the trees. We may lose the ashes anyway, so.
Yeah.
Once that happens, then you have to just cut them down.
Okay, so Tony, thank you, and I will be in touch with you about the survey. Or do you have more information you want to share?
No.
Okay, well, we've got the documents that you sent us as you evaluated the various parks and equipment too, and I will rely on that to help me with the survey, and then I will let you review it and see if there's some ways you can polish it up or make some recommendations too. Okay. That'll go for everybody here, but in particular, since you did most of the research for the equipment, to make sure I'm not leaving something out or I'm misdescribing or poorly describing a piece of equipment. So I'll start putting that together, and then I'll share it so that any of you can be looking at the base information before we actually create a survey, and then we'll create the survey and test it. So. And get that out probably within the month. I don't think that will take too long since Tony's done all the work to get the information together. So thank you, Tony. And I'll keep in touch. And obviously, just a second, Monica, I see your hand.
I just said good job. That was my thumbs up.
Yeah, okay. Good. Yeah, thank you. Monica did the research for the Marion Harthill Park, so she knows what you went through. We appreciate it and look forward to it. So when you start school, where will you be? Cornell?
No, I'm gonna be in Buffalo.
Oh,
I'm gonna be living next to a Duff's. Duff's will be across the street, so that's good.
Hope we bring a jacket. It's gonna be cold.
Yeah, it's just got a nice.
And a shovel.
You're
Jacket
going to
and
be
a
living next to a what?
The Duff's.
Duff's.
Duff's? What
Yeah,
is
it's
Duff's?
where you get chicken wings.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay, got you.
You guys have never been to
No,
Duff's?
I know.
We're too far south. I think I've been actually when I went to Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo Wings, of course, duh.
Yeah,
Tony,
you guys
this is Ronnie's wife. I grew up in Buffalo, but I used to have my chicken wings at the Anchor Bar or Bob and John's Hacienda on Hurdle Avenue. So, but I see on my Buffalo Facebook groups that that Duff's makes good chicken wings. So congratulations. Are you going to UB?
Yeah.
Hi,
Sorry,
Jim. Are you going to UB?
I am going to UV.
Oh, that's where I went to law school. Good for you.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the Buffalo Wing Festival?
No, I moved out of Buffalo in 1978, and you know, I went back most recently for my 50th high school reunion, which was in 2019. And we haven't been back since, but I'd like to go back. The city is much improved.
Yeah.
It's really cleaning itself up and growing.
Yeah.
So, well, congratulations on UB, and keep in touch. If you're going to be back in town next summer and we're still working on things, you're welcome to come back and do some more work with us. We have I appreciated the work you've done. I know it probably wasn't extremely challenging, but it's very helpful to us.
Really, I
And
appreciate that.
we're going to give you credit in our Greenway plan that you were our summer intern for this version. So
Great. But will my name be in the paper?
well, you can say
Oh,
you could say that you've been published, maybe. I don't know.
There's-
That'd be great.
There's no Olympic medal associated with this work.
Is it? What?
Darn.
Just a
darn.
lot of municipal gratitude is all you'll get.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, we're gonna do
I
this.
love municipal
Oh, yes.
gratitude.
Yeah, it's the
Well,
stats of life. Okay. So thank you, and I'll keep in touch. And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, obviously. But if you've got,
It'll be riveting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
How
gonna.
much more do we have to do? Because I see that I have 29% battery left on my iPad.
Well, the only thing we have to do is there's a topic of discussion. Larry Bieri sent me some revisions to the final draft plan, and I've incorporated those. So you all need to take a look at that, see if you've got other suggestions for the draft plan. What I would like to propose is that we hold off submitting this to the trustees until we get the tree law or policy through the trustees and passed and implemented, so that we can refer to that officially within the document. Right now we mention it, but it's really nowhere on the village's books, so to speak. So
Okay.
I'd like to hold off until we get that done, and then so that'll give us a little bit of time to read through the document a few times and see if we spot things and make minor revisions. And then at the last, we can make sure we're referring to the officially approved and passed name of that tree policy, and correct that, and then we can submit the final draft to the trustees for approval. So that was going to be my suggestion, and that's really all we have for today, unless you've got other topics.
No, I had a couple of comments on that draft, but maybe they're premature since we have other stuff to do with that draft before it's final. But I sent it back to you, Ronnie.
Yeah, it was it
Am I-
your latest email about the trees?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's something, I don't know if it's beyond the scope of the document, getting down to the nitty gritty of specific things to be done, but it's something that I can pass along to John, just in general.
No, I just mentioned it because I know that we're looking at beautification. We talk about landscaping in the village, and that it's important, if we're gonna have landscaping, that we keep it looking tidy, and the worst offenders are dead trees on Trip Hammer.
Okay, maybe we need to put in a something about monitoring and maintaining healthy trees within the village.
Absolutely, because, and from John's perspective, if one of us tells him that there's a dead tree, he's on notice. He has to remove it as soon as he hears that, because if it falls on somebody and we knew about it, we're liable.
That's
So,
true.
I haven't said anything to John. I guess I've documented it 2 or 3 times that there are, at least a half a dozen dead Callery pears on North Trip. And they've been dead for about 3 years.
Well, the other thing we can do is something that we've done with our landscape the last couple of summers is to hire a contractor.
Well, I was just thinking, Cuba Landscape would be absolutely the people to do it. They can assess the trees. Several of the trees need pruning. They've got water shoots coming up from the base, from the roots, and they just look awful. I was about to get my clippers and go out and work on them, and I thought, no, damn, the village needs to do this. We've been squawking about it for so many years, and I'm just gonna keep, this is the burr under the saddle blanket. I'm just gonna keep buzzing about it until we get it done.
Okay, Jerry.
I love what you're saying, Lynn, but I'm having an experience with Cayuga Heights Road. And I just want to let you guys know that the trimming we did there a couple of years ago is starting to fill in. And from Beckett Way down to the entrance of Route 13, it really is those curves. There are literally places where a pedestrian has nowhere to go but into a ditch. And I know it's a state road, but it really is. That would be.
We need to work on it. We need to work on it.
Also, and the way I would say 4 out of 10 cars are biting into the
Over the white line.
overgrown.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is scary.
And there's just nowhere if you're like when I'm walking through there, I'm literally doing this just so a car might my hand.
Right. So they can. Oh, I see. Because through those curves, they can't see you until they're right on top.
And also north of Beckett Way, all the way up to Oakcrest, all those. There are some places in there where it is just not safe.
You don't want to walk on that part of the road.
And yet that's part of our walkable village. So
Yeah.
I'll see if I can't craft a paragraph or something within this draft that talks about that. And our suggestions is that if it's similar to what we've said about the other maintenance within the village, if the DPW crew doesn't have enough manpower or time to do this, that we should consider hiring a contractor to come through once a year and just basically let us know what needs to be done, give us an estimate of what needs to be done.
Whatever they did 2 years ago, all Cayuga Heights Road, right before back, like they trimmed all that back. It needs great. That helped a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just grows.
Yep. So anyway.
Okay, I'll craft something, and then I'll just extract that I've written and send it out to everyone and see what you think. And I'll tell you approximately where I'm thinking about putting it in the document. And that way you don't have to read through the whole document.
Thank you. Say hi to Luke and Greta. All right. Good luck.
Bye,
Bye.
Tony. Thank you again. So I'll do that. That's a good point, Lynn. I think we did miss that in this document. That is important. And you brought it up before, as has Lisa Schleline. So let's put that in and see what we can do. But
Okay.
I agree. We need to find some way of maintaining our trees because they're dangerous and they're poor representation of a village when people drive.
Well, since we did the North Trip Hammer project, we've pretty much ignored those trees for the last years. We have done nothing to those trees. If anyone's done anything to them, it's been me. And, when I go down there when I used to go down there to garden at the entrance to Trip Hammer, sometimes I would go out and prune some of those trees.
Okay.
I'm not really equipped to do that.
No, you shouldn't do that. No, if something happened to you, then,
Yeah.
so you shouldn't do that. We should find another way, either our guys or a contractor to do that for us.
Right.
That can be dangerous work primarily from where you're doing it is just the traffic.
So it turns out Tony's grandfather, Luke Colavito, was one of my husband's colleagues at the Boyce Thompson Institute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said, "How do I know your name?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, but my husband used to know your granddad." So that's kind of cool.
Small world.
Small world. Yeah.
Okay, any other comments?
No.
Okay, then I say we adjourn and I will work on the survey. I'll work on the writing for the tree maintenance. And if there's anything else that comes up about the final draft, please look through it. Just read through it as a normal document, see if there's anything else we missed. And we'll start putting that in while we're waiting for the tree policy to go through the trustees.
It
That
thrills
sounds good.
me to hear Tony call you Mayor Hart or talk about Mayor Hardaway. I really think that sounds wonderful.
It does. It does.
Yeah, I know. It's hard for me to think about it, but it's fun. It's fun.
Especially when you have a ladder in your office.
That's right. Well, I know I'm going to need that ladder for the escape. So The
And
ladder
you have
has to
great
stay.
work.
That is escape clause.
All right,
All right,
everybody, have a good day.
Good to see you
Bye.
all.
Good to
Bye.
see you too. Bye-bye.